So, okay. My opponent has played quite a lot of different openings, but lately, yeah, we played 2 blitz games in like the, what is it called again? Blitz Battle of the League. And then we played this line, but he didn't play. They didn't play Queen C7 then. So now I need to. I have faced this in the past, I think. So a big thing, they are sort of preparing e5 with this. So I could play like to counter that e5 myself, but then bishop g5, g4. And did I, since yeah, I then probably will need to play d4 too, and that would lose a tempo. And can I somehow argue that they lost the tempo too? That's hard, I think. Can play bishop e2, e5. Of course, after e5, bishop g4. Could also play bishop f4 actually. Yeah, I really. Quite a crucial decision here. Although, I guess. Yeah, the main question is like, how does this compare to some like main lines? Don't think like after e5, let's say bishop g4, bishop f4. I can play something like knight v7 actually. I have then e6. But that loses me a pawn. I think I actually have played this line against someone earlier in a 45 game even, or on stream. Since I remember them commenting like this queen c7 that prepares, so my knight f3 stops a5, and their queen c7 prepares it. But I have no clue what I played then. Does it make any sense to play knight c3 to sort of fight against, like at least challenge them? Then e5. After e5, bishop g4. Like maybe there could be at some point some tactics here. but I don't see it. Hmm. No. Could go for a Fian Cattle Scepter now. Maybe I do that. Then maybe we still even can like, we could still transpose to my preparation in that way. But probably they are not going for it then. But like I have prepared some lines. I looked at some lines with e5. So I had looked at bishop g4 directly. And they often play it with e5 in that sense. So I looked a little bit at that structure, and then I would, so then they say, and after h3 they took, and then I have Fian Cattled. No, makes some sense. So this is, if they don't play e5 now, I think I have bishop f4. Yeah. This e5 maybe could be a little bit overextended. We'll see. So, yeah. Worst case, I play it a little bit in like a King's Indian attack style. So, let's say if they go for this setup, now like I have a King's Indian defense 2 temples up. Since they just lost a temple with it. Okay, so now they took, which they also did actually in these games. But I'm not sure. I guess I committed already this the g3. Since otherwise, yeah, my bishop actually is now very nice on c4, but bishop h3 is probably quite annoying in that case. So probably I still need to go for just a Fian Cattle setup for now. So do I first put my bishop out to e3, so that like after knight f6 I can play knight e2 without blocking my bishop. The problem is they then have some ideas with knight e7 and bishop c5 trading off like my good bishop. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. I was thinking bishop c2, knight f6, knight e2. Although I guess I just play c3 in that case. I'm not unhappy, but since yeah, I probably don't want my knight on c3 in any lines, since it's just blockaded. In this structure, I often want the knight on c4 actually, like putting pressure here, and maybe even sometimes going to the f5 square. But yeah, I'm now like, I looked at quite some games in this exact structure, but where they already have traded this. But I think I will start with this. Yeah, now they can play bishop c5 directly in one go, but yeah, I had also, yeah, they have maybe that bishop on c5 also could get hit both by my knight, and if it goes to b6, potentially by my a pawn. Although, like I said, the knight often prefers to go to c4. Even saw quite some games where like grandmasters went first to b3, then to go back to d2, and then to go c4. Like, maybe there was some, yeah, of course there was concrete stuff, but I think I start with this 92. Like this. I think, yeah, this is, I'm not, c3 weakens the d3 square a bit, but it's hard to imagine that they very fast can use that. And yeah, it of course gets more control over the weak d4 square, so yeah. The only problem is that my bishop is for now a little bit blocked in, but like this, it's not like I don't have any way. Like I don't really want my bishop to put on e3, since then they sort of could trade it off on g5. After h6 I would need to trade it, so like for now the bishop is just fine on c1. So not that big an issue. Oh, this looks like Trenzo can't see me. There are multiple people I saw already in the stream in like 2 minutes, so yeah, anyway. Yeah, I had some, I needed to re-log in today, that I know. Like, Twitch always, after some time, asks you to re-log in. And it was doing annoying, but I think everything should be fine. Yeah, anyway, I will not focus on that during the game. If the stream is messed up, yeah, that's something to worry about later. Anyway, like, should record also, so then extra reason to watch it later on YouTube. Kinda happy actually that they didn't, like, so the main line here is to go for the end game, which I think I find it an very interesting end game, but probably like not the most interesting for to get views on YouTube. So you never know. I think there is more chance that something very interesting, like for a broader public, interesting happens in this position. With the queens on the board. I think we get a symmetrical structure, which is probably one of my weaknesses actually. But these don't really even have that much of a development lead here. Yeah, they have this c6, which is not a developing move. But it's still like the chance that I at some point want to play c3, since it gives a very nice stable square for the queen, and it controls the d5 square, and for me it would control the d4 square, so okay, bishop g5. Think I'm gonna castle directly. Like at some point it could be have been a thing to like include h3 to say your bishop doesn't really have nice squares. Since on e6 it would get hit by knight g5, but I don't think. I think in the end I still would very happily like take here the bishop pair if they go for this. Yeah. Okay, they would do this. I'm not sure. Yeah, I need to look. Probably I take with the queen, I think. Since the queen is probably not that great placed. So I probably at some point still need to move it, maybe to like e2. But still, that would win me a tempo compared to like the bishop. Yeah, maybe it doesn't need to move to g2 back, actually, in some cases, but yeah. So in general, let's say they trade this bishop for this knight, right? And I want my queen on e2 and a bishop on g2. If I capture with the queen on f3 and then go back, that would like win me tempo compared to capturing with the bishop and going back and then needing to move the queen. Also, yeah, in some cases the queen is actually, like the queen is not that vulnerable here. Only to maybe a knight. It looks like very fast-fetched for this knight to get here, but there is some maneuver like so, like this. No, it's not this. It gets there via e6. Oh no, this is a maneuver. Which is, yeah, which happens in the structure actually. It looks a lot of moves, but it's a fallible ID. So I could go here for a4 to then like get a stable square for my knight. It starts to be like at some point h3 is gonna become a reasonable move here, because as long as I haven't played h3, it could be a little bit tricky to get this rook out of here. Also rook d8. Could become a thing. But yeah, I think I still want to start with a4. At some point maybe knight b3. There also the advantage of a4. If they don't react to it, now after knight b3, they can't go back to b6, since this would, yeah, not, it would even win the bishop, since after bishop d4 I have c3. But even without, it would be winning a pawn, although there is also some knight e4 stuff still, but not really. So yeah, this is quite a decision for them. Like, how do they want to react to this pawn? And yeah, sometimes I will just keep pushing it. And now, yeah, for me, I at some point maybe want to play c3, but I haven't been forced into it. I can wait until like they are threatening to place a piece on d4. Well, they already have played c6, so the moment they move their a pawn, this b6 square is quite weak. Also, after some knight c4, they sometimes want to challenge that with knight b6, but with a pawn on a5 that's not possible. So yeah, like rook d8 here could look a natural move for them, but yeah, what are they then doing with this rook? So I'm not that afraid of, like, it looks, they are even like threatening something with rook d8. But, and for example, like rook d8, I probably will play queen e2. And then after like something like bishop g4, h3 and take, now I sort of lose a tempo in these lines. But I still wouldn't be afraid of that, since they would lose sort of, I guess, yeah, they maybe can think about just doubling and then getting the other rook here. But it's not, yeah, that's like easy for them to double. Like, to which square do you double on the d file? Like, of course, d7 could get hit by the bishop. d6, like, at least undefenses pawn, and also can get hit by knight c4. It's also just a very clumsy square. Also sometimes the bishop then gets trapped. So not really. And then d5 of course is covered. And d4 is, yeah, I guess also is and yeah, like I was saying with queen e3, now after bishop here, maybe I actually take back with the knight, but I'm not sure about that. But it's something to consider now that I have that option, since of course I'm putting pressure on e5, but I'm blocking the bishop. Although, maybe I actually do that. Okay, they'll go for that. I think this is a pretty automatic move. Yeah, the queen. I only, actually, they have like this idea, which I sort of but it feels off. Like, the bishop doesn't feel great on a6 actually, but of course I need to look out for that. And like, I still have the option to block it actually, but probably after something like b6, I think I would play rook d1 or rook e1 actually, maybe. Since similar like them, where this rook now doesn't really have a purpose, I probably would prefer to get this rook to d1. For now, it looks it's not really possible, but long term. The downside of rook e1, after I move this knight, after some bishop b4, oh, it will be with tempo. So knight c4 actually is gonna be with the tempo on the pawn. Of course, they have a lot of ways to try to defend it. Okay, they go now for bishop g4. Try to a little bit get rid of, yeah, their pieces like a bit in space, but I like the bishop pair, so I think I'm gonna ask the question, and I'm absolutely not sure yet with which piece I will recapture. I think I'm thinking, yeah, maybe at this point actually knight f3 makes a lot of sense. Don't really need to defend this pawn anymore. And so one of the big maneuvers in the lines I looked at was getting the knight to here to f5. But yeah, now I just have this route too. Because they have then some g6. Okay. I think this makes a lot of sense. Also keep the queen for now. Defending this. Don't think the queen anyway wanted to move, but it's a nice bonus. Yeah. Yeah, it frees up my bishop. Now my a4 wasn't like really necessary. So now I finally got a structure in which I looked quite a lot of games. It's a little bit different, but actually still very similar. Like if I would have recaptured with the queen, it maybe still could have transposed actually to some games. Although I would then have lost the tempo here, but maybe like that they somewhere also lose the tempo. But yeah, I don't see any big reason to. Yeah, the other thing about the only thing that is in favor of c4 is like sometimes can be attacking the a5 pawn combined with the bishop d2. But actually bishop d2, bishop c3 is now a real thing. I think that's now my main idea. And like I already said earlier, they have like, of course, yeah, right now they maybe have d7, but at some point I will anyway want to push this h-pawn. That's a disadvantage of having the knight here, actually. Now it's, since in a lot of lines, actually the h-pawn started to push, but I can't like both push the h-pawn and move my knight. Although I guess of the knight h4. Yeah, so knight h4 and then they have g6. Now I want to push the pawn, but the knight is in the way. So that's a little bit clunky actually. So that could be a reason to not recapture with the knight. Now that I look at it. But probably still there are, I assume there are still more advantages of having the knight here than disadvantages. Yeah, and yeah, the blocking the bishop is for sure also, but at some point like, actually, I want a bishop to c4 anyway. So yeah, the two ways to activate this bishop are h4, bishop h3, or bishop f1, bishop c4. In which case my a4 again helps. So I need to, after bishop c3, like, the knight could go, no, that is not, it's to a4, it could be attacking it, but that's not really. Guess the knight can get in this way to d4. So bishop d2, knight f8, bishop c3. No, it's not in time. At least they need to lose a tempo. Since yeah, if I have the bishop on c3, there is no longer c3, of course. So that could be a disadvantage. So that could be a reason to play h4 here. So after knight f8, I have bishop h3. And yeah, I happily would give that bishop. After getting the bishop to this diagonal, I actually have also some ideas with b4. And again, the bishop really can stay on this diagonal, then it needs to. So after knight f8, that could be a nice moment to play b4, since now the bishop sort of has only clunky squares. But like d6 is quite a passive square. Although that would, yeah, and then there is also no knight d4 anymore, since that would just lose the pawn at that point. Okay. They have the option of a4, a5 actually here. So after bishop c3, they have bishop b4. That's actually maybe a good move. Since also now my knight is quite far away to like make use of these weak squares. Although, like, how does this pawn structure change? Like, they get an open A file. No, kind of like A5 here for them. Not really sure what my follow-up is then. Or actually, I guess my queen can maybe quote on some squares here, although there's knight b6. Also now after a5 the queen is, and the knight here, the queen can go decently to b6 actually. But yeah, I don't think was I in time to play a5 first. Knight here. No, I think they are just in time to get here. No, so a5. And oh, they play it. Nice. So it's here. Did I have a5, knight f8, bishop d2, knight e6. Now they can decently regroup to f8, which is a way nicer square for the bishop. Okay. Still, yeah, we could have sort of do a dance now for trading the bishops. Probably, maybe, don't think I play bishop c3 now. But how the, after knight h4 I assume g6. Of course, I'm moving my rook is very reasonable. Queen c4. But then, no, there is no knight b6, but there is queen b6. Okay. There's queen b6, bishop c3. Bishop b4. Then I have some knight g5 actually. Which maybe is a little bit annoying for them. Also, no, queen c4, just straight knight g5. Although, I need, of course, need to be aware of this knight b6. But also, the knight is not like on that or great square on b6 anyway. So, and a lot of lines, we are just like equally trading temples. I'm just like trying to stop this bishop b4. So if they now just go back first with the bishop, then bishop c3, and they can get their tempo in with knight b6. But I even then have like some queen b3 actually, which like would attack their knight and some knights. Or yeah, at least force their queen in defending it. And I think at that point their pieces start to be I'm losing the abilities to speak English. Oh yeah, I'm just not finding a certain word actually. It's not even that I know it in Dutch for the moment. The word where the queen bolt is defending the knight and the pawn. I'm just blanking on it. Need to make it. I don't think there's a way how to make use of it, but I need to be like a little bit aware about that my knight is now stuck to the defense. Not that much, but a little bit to the defense of my bishop. Since, for example, they have this knight b6 to open up this, but I at least always have just queen e2 back defending it, so it's not, that's like, for example, it's not that, let's say I have a second move that knight h4 is actually a blunder. I still just have knight b6, queen e2 back. And yeah, of course, for the moment, I could just take the bishop also, but then they would be able to activate their rook. But yeah, I guess, yeah, the more relevant case of that is with knight g5. Since in some lines I want here knight g5, attacking here, but then so in some lines they have the knight b6 response. Yeah, probably in most lines. And then I would, yeah, that's actually, since, for example, knight g5, let's say I have a second move, knight g5, knight b6, probably then I would need to take here, since otherwise after queen e2, h6, knight f3 back, now they have knight e4, I think. And now my queen is, that word I can't find. Overworked, is it as simple as that? Or do I have a special word for that? No, I think it's just overworked. And this is for now sort of my weakness, but yeah, I have like this bishop in the wings, which is an potential defender of it. Otherwise, my position is very solid. Maybe this a bit, so my rook maybe sometimes can't leave it that much easy. So let's consider some concrete options they have. Queen b6, I think knight g5 is, since that would force them, I guess they have, no, the knight is still here, so it would need to be a rook f8, and then maybe bishop here. It could be also that the other move order is better and clear. Or actually, is this actually that big a threat that they're after? I guess this is more the threat. Yeah, and that's probably a big, yeah, a bigger threat. But yeah, still, it's not super clear that knight g5, rook h8, h6, yeah, I have a move then, but h6 and I need to go back, that I won that much. Like even they could sort of correct their mistake of having the rook here and not on e8, sort of winning the tempo in that way. And yeah, they are then forced to play h6, but that is also often a move they anyway want to make. Although with h6, now this knight h4, knight g6 plan becomes a lot more tempting. So it could be a thing to play knight g5, to then at some point induce h6, go back, and then put the knight on f5. That actually sounds quite a decent plan. Then let's see who is all. So Paul with N's, Kiter, Spider, NXN. Yeah, been teammates at some point. Transu, Risk, Jokic, Pipak, Inter. 3 of my teammates. Nerman Dedovic. Oh wow, we played a game and I lost. No idea where that was. And Magyar. That's, I think that's the opponent's board 8 who played a very nice game today. Very impressive. So, what are the options? Let's say they first need to do something about the bishop, right? Before they can try to remaneuver the knight. Knight b6, I feel, is putting the knight on the wrong circuit. Yeah, it's of course they would, for example, maybe bishop f8 to then play knight knight b6. Don't think I'm that afraid of that. So, and also I would have, so let's say bishop f8, bishop here. They have knight b6, but then queen b3, and now their pieces are overworked. b5. Wow. That's very committal. Of course, they have so take, and then rook b8, I guess is the idea. Taking here, bishop c3. Even I'm not sure, like also this pawn. Yeah, the only thing is, of course, like I need to not blunder this tactic. So after this capture, but yeah, I couldn't keep my queen there anyway. And take here, that doesn't work, so... okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit doubtful if this tactically works. So take. I think this is the only one. With this hook, I just take the second pawn. I don't think. I win then a pawn back, but well, no, maybe not even, since yeah, they would need to do it with this. But I was also looking, then I maybe even have bishop a5. Since rook here, take. Then they need to trade rooks also. Since this rook then is undefended. Or they could attack my bishop. But also this pawn is hanging. Guess they have this pawn hangs too actually. So maybe that's actually the idea. Take a 94. After I take 94. But then I have this bishop a5 still. They could then like block. With the knight on, I guess the knight on e4 also sort of threatens knight g3 sometimes. Okay, so take, knight e4, bishop here. Let's say here, take. Yeah, but yeah, this wouldn't stay. They could block with knight b6, but then the bishop hangs. So oh no, the bishop doesn't hang since there's knight e4. And yeah, the bishop is also defended here. So that could be maybe thing. Okay, so take. I have also just like the safety of like queen e2. But yeah, I feel they will play b4 and maybe their coordination. Like now my bishop is a little bit limited. Yeah, with or without the capture. Also in some lines actually, like my bishop is actually could be a thing. But yeah, I need to force myself to calculate concrete lines here. Take knight b6. And don't see it there. No, I guess b4 then. Yeah, and the bishop can stay on this diagonal, so I win then the piece. So that doesn't work either. Take, 94 here. Of course, yeah, they have like ideas to just take here for 2 pieces. But yeah, no, not really, since yeah, they first need to. It's forcing, right? No, because they, yeah, no, they, since yeah, they both need to flee this this. So I guess maybe the most concrete line is this. Yeah, maybe if they just move the queen to something like a7 actually. That's maybe a bit annoying. And probably quite annoying. Okay, that's probably, since I'm not, at that moment 2 pawns down, but my queen is attacked, my bishop, yeah, my queen needs to keep defending the bishop, this pawn could be attacked. Although in that line the bishop is not really attacked. So maybe I then just have rook here, although they take here. Then, no, I have here maybe. Yes. No. Queen. Okay, so take. Queen e7. Queen probably also still has other squares where it could go to. No, not that many gate squares. It says c8 or d6 only, really. So what if I do take, and queen b3? They have a4 ideas, but that's after a4. Then maybe I take no. Then that's. But then maybe e2. Although no, then this pawn also starts to be hanging. Ugh. Nice move. Maybe a blunder, but still a nice move. Let's say we take here. We go back. b4. That's the main question. I think I'm just gonna go back. And after b4, maybe just go straight back. And it's kinda... It's not that easy for them to make a next move, I think. Since this issue is good for me. Knight b6. hangs taking and taking here. Guess they could be thinking about maneuvering like this, actually. Yeah, lot of tension now in the position. Let's see if they pulse. What is my next move here? It's not an easy answer actually, but of course they could make some very slow moves, but it's mentally also hard for them to just do a nothing move here, I think. Yes, bishop f8. That's is maybe one of the moves to calculate. Okay, they go straight for b4. So now I thought I just go straight back. Of course, yeah, the disadvantage now. I no longer can attack this pawn, but although I have c3 options. Knight b6. Oh, they first need to move the bishop for that. Let's see the. I hope my stream is stable. It says reconnecting. Let me test my internet speed. But yeah, nothing to do if it doesn't work. Yeah. Oh. Okay, this seems okay. But I guess it's if there was a pub. No, that's kind of bad actually. Yeah, that's very bad. Ugh. So queen c4, I assume bishop f8. with some knight b6 ideas. Also, I now have this square for the knight. Yeah, I'm lacking a bit, of course, for good squares for the bishop. For the bishop. Both my bishops are not at all active at the moment. Can go with queen b6, but then again I still have my knight g5. They have this maneuver also now. Oh, that's kind of good actually. Maybe I have bishop fg, which is a little bit annoying. Bishop g5. Oh, probably decently annoying actually. Okay, that's good. Although they may, yeah, I guess, yeah. At least they need to put a rook to a slightly awkward square for a moment. Okay. So I think bishop f8 makes quite some sense. And then I guess I have bishop e3. And then knight b6. Could we thinking about taking that actually? That looks, no. That isn't too that much. No. That wins this pawn actually. Could be that they can win a pawn back, but no, probably not, since the bishop then opens up. So against bishop f8, I for sure want to play bishop e3. So then there's never, I guess queen b6 is the second move to consider. Or even queen d6 maybe in some cases. To then follow up with knight b6. But then yeah, against queen d6 for sure I'm gonna put probably this knight, this rook on d1. The queen doesn't feel right on d6. Also the bishop is then a little bit stuck. Yeah, it's sort of, this bishop is so like almost all three bishops are bad bishops in a way. This bishop has this really nice diagonal, but otherwise it's blocked in by these three pawns. My bishop is clearly blocked in for the moment, and this bishop is my good bishop, but is a little bit lacking to do something active for the moment. But yeah, I have this bishop has I have like a c3 break. I potentially sometimes can trade it off here. I can and sometimes it looks at hx, which can be relevant. And this bishop has like in the long term still these two nice diagonals. Yeah, I guess yeah. So getting here, okay, like that, okay. So now knight g5, they can move the knight. And that even hangs my bishop, so that's a bit annoying. So this bishop is quite nice. Knight b6. Then maybe c5, c4 follow up. That looks a good plan. Now my knight here already becomes maybe more promising, since this bishop can no longer go back to the king. So getting this knight to f5 is although yes, so this, and I need to go back again. But maybe that's not a problem. Okay, need to, this is for sure a move I need to tactically check if everything is fine, since it undefends my bishop. Of course, yeah, like the safe is to just defend this here, but I don't like want to trade everything just on the d file. Although of course, like in an end game, my bishop pair could become strong. Yeah, sort of. I don't think I'm afraid of this knight b6. Like now they are sort of the pieces are blocking each other. Although I guess there is knight h4, knight b6, queen c4. There's actually knight c4. Oh. And then bishop g5 if here. But yeah, that's, I think that's probably a strong pawn sacrifice for me. Breaking up their king like that, having a super knight on f5 and a knight here. What's that doing? On b2. It's basically out of the game. No, that looks probably a winning attack. So yeah, maybe quickly. So the line I was saying is knight h4, knight b6, queen e2, knight c4, bishop g5, knight take b2, take, take, and then probably knight f5, and yeah. If it's not directly winning attack, it's easily full compensation. But maybe it's just straight winning. With my queen coming in. So I think I like this. Yeah, and if they need to play g6, they don't have this bishop. This bishop is very far off defending the dark squares. Could have also started actually with bishop g5, since after h6 they take. Now this knight h4 becomes a lot stronger. Knight h4. Like, actually, yeah, other knight moves, they have also knight c5 with similar ideas, but still play bishop g5. Don't see what that really changes. Yeah, they also, like my knight, they can't really get rid of this knight. I guess they can get knight with g6, but then still I have knight m5. Like the only piece that can get rid of this knight here is a combination of like g6 and a bishop here. Of course, after g6, my knight is not that scary anymore, but my bishop will be. So knight f8, I guess again bishop g5. Yeah, so against any knight move, of course not knight b6, then I need to play queen e2. But then bishop g5 likely will follow. And if nothing, probably knight f5. If they play g6, do I play straight bishop h6, or is there something to be said for bishop g5? Okay, go knight here. I think this is a pretty automatic move, and I think quite uncomfortable to meet actually. Kinda missed that some rook d4 ideas. But is it that big a problem? Don't think so. I think I just go here. But yeah, then I need to be a little bit aware about him doubling on the d file. Yeah, but yeah, I have also then knight f5 ideas. No, don't think I'm that afraid actually of that. I guess they can. Okay, that is something. Probably still want to play that, but bishop g5. They have rook d4, and now the knight can move. Knight doesn't have that many gate squares, but it actually has only one square. F7. And then I have knight f5 again. So with tempo on the rook. So I don't see, yeah. I think this pin is very uncomfortable. Like any, since for example queen e7, I have knight f5. I guess then they have queen e6. Maybe something like, yeah, maybe that's a potential ID. Also, at this, if they now do queen e7, of course, I potentially can think about taking here, but probably not. They play rook c8, get back in here, and my queen is out of the game. Yeah, it would be kind of if they now play rook d8 and my queen goes back to here, so my queen is like jumping back and forward between these two squares. But then, yeah, like much see what the move is here. Like I think this is very annoying, knight f5 is very annoying. Like, it's nice, for now, my bishop is also still defending here. I guess, sort of, after this, the knight, but the knight will not really cover up this file since I'm just gonna push this pawn. So that will not work. Yeah, my attack soon could be quite strong. Like I have this bishop here, or taking here, or in some cases like h6, my knight as f5, my queen can here, this pawn can enter, then the bishop could follow. And anything about the d file, my rooks could like, if for example like something with the hook somewhere is defending here, then it could be like that my rook challenges and then it's overworked, keeping the d file and defending. And yeah, the only thing they really have is here, but yeah, this is like super solidly defended. Of course this also, but this I can also solidly defended for now. And yeah, this, like, both these attackers are not stable. My bishop is threatening to trade this off, and my knight is threatening to get rid of this rook. For now, I don't see that many great candidate moves. Maybe queen d8, knight f5, rook d7, to then like try to play h6. But yeah, actually even bishop e3 is sometimes a move. Probably, yeah. In cases where like if one of these, yeah, maybe, probably not when they're both still defending the bishop, but if it's only one of them and the other one is maybe overworked, it's for sure could be. Although I think the rook will not stay here long, like almost certain. My next move will be knight f5. Don't see, yeah, if they force me to capture here, of course, that could be, but otherwise, don't see a move where knight f5 is not my next move. And then I think quite likely it is h4, h5 follow-up. So that's, yeah, h5 would, yeah, of course, kill knight g6 as a blockader. And okay, they go back to there. Yeah, knight f5. Do they want to go rook e6? Quite a passive move. Then, yeah, my h4, bishop h3 could be commenting. And also with the rook on e6, there's no longer knight e6. Also now I could be thinking about challenging for the d file. But for now, yeah, I still don't have like that much to do on the d file. They still have decent control. So h6, what against guess the question is h4, h6. But that, yeah, at least, yeah, that makes my knight more stable. Could be a reason to play rook d1. Then I can play out after h6 bishop c1 without blocking my rook. That's a decent idea. So h4, h6. Of course, after h6, there are ideas of sacrificing something, but for now I don't see directly how it works. Yeah. Well, maybe I don't care about this rook for now. And I just go back to c1. Or actually d2. No, that's not that scary, d2. Yeah, probably can just go back to d2. Since it's very hard for them to double on the d file. So I'm now opening up this. Of course, yeah, this was the other alternative, but yeah. Maybe that was even better. But it's, yeah, need to, like, where do I go with the queen then? Maybe f3 actually. So something like rook d2, queen f3, bishop f1. Could be that that's just very strong. And maybe I also just have a lot of very strong options here. Or do they, yeah, g6 is so with the bishop here. Okay, I go h6. I think I just go back here. So now there's for sure no g6. Now next bishop h3. Although bishop h3 of course undefensive pawn, but yeah, hard to attack it. Guess after rook d8, bishop h3, they could have knight e4. Yeah, probably. So maybe just rook d1. Probably. Yeah, this knight really dominates this rook. Guess maybe they could. So sometimes maybe I have c3 ideas. What was I saying earlier? I don't know, that's a smart bishop h3, yes. Then ideas of, oh, rook e8. Okay. Now queen f3. then maybe they move this and there are sacrifices, but still not really working, I think. Can we go for another queen c4? But it's no longer doing that much there, I think. But for the funsies. But yeah, I don't see what it's doing. Have like maybe g4, g5. Can I do that here? They have that. It weakens this square. But with all their pieces over here, it's for sure tempting. Now they have this square. And yeah, knight f4. Would need to take, but then this pawn starts to be hanging. Not yet, but close. It's very committal to play g4 here. I think maybe c3. H5. H5 is also often thematical idea in this, but yeah, there's no need. Like G6 is not a threat, so. I think since inducing C5 kind of looks nice, and I take control over the D4 square. Maybe now we can do the dance again. Although, yeah, that just doesn't. No, probably doesn't work here. For them. to be a little bit aware of time, but for now 8 minutes is still decent. In a way, I said like in the change channel before that I think in a time scramble should be a favor for me, which is like their ability is way higher, but I think that's really doesn't say anything about how you're playing classical. I think with the blitz rating being the biggest difference, not as way more. But so what's my next? So yeah, this is still in, but yeah, for now this is not doing that much. And the question is, can I get my bishop to c4? Okay, they play c5. Do I play queen c4 here? Oh, this bishop is very set. The queen is very stable here. Of course, after this I won't need to defend, but I think that's not that big an issue. And there are also now some there's a pin here going on. Yeah, and after a move like rook c8, maybe some bishop h3 becomes a thing. Yeah, then we can get even like some very sharp tactical stuff. And the thing is that after a potential capture here, like both rooks are still, if the queen would need to recapture, then combination of like taking here with check, then okay. Guess at this now they could be thinking about here. Here, bishop here. Take. Okay, rook d after any rook. Probably I want this rook. Since I know what my queen here, like knight g4 can happen. don't think there is any way of losing. There's not really a pin yet. Like maybe some like a capture here and then okay. The knight. Okay, the knight now protects here. So there are no discovered attacks. For now they are sort of solid. Now the moment for bishop here. Like the knight isn't decent defender here, but doesn't have any active moves. The bishop is completely locked in. And maybe sometimes this is my idea. Although I'm not sure yet what the follow-up will be. Could also be thinking now, just trade some major pieces. Also there's f4 ID. Again, yeah, a little bit weakening of course. No, bishop e3 could run into knight g4. I think I go now for here. Is there a way to like attack this pawn? I don't see it. Maybe this actually. Oh wow. I missed that. Ouch. Though now that is bent. Ow. Ugh. That's annoying. Although, is this really hanging? Yeah, I guess. It is. Since my hook also can't. What do I do against this? Rook e1, take. Take. there are quite some tactical possibilities, but we don't see yet any that are really working. Yeah, do it. Play just think, let's say I defend here, 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 they go back, I move my bishop. It's not like my bishop has also very limited squares. Can't, so taking here. Oh, that's maybe an idea. Taking here. Oh no, the problem is after taking here and here, I take also my bishop. And this pawn, rook a1. They go back to one of these two. And bishop here. And then you need to defend this. Which is not easy actually for them. Maybe they even can't. Because of like pins. But yeah, no, I guess the problem, like here, after this, no, again, this pawn is hanging. So maybe I should have done bishop c2 instead. Yeah. Queen c6. Bishop c1. Now they defend this pawn. No, not this. Let's say I sacrifice the pawn to open my bishops. Oh wow. I completely blundered this option. Oh. And that's extremely strong, probably. Oh wow. Although, is it like here? They have this, but then I can take here. Attacking this bishop, which is very set. Oh no, no. After this, this is still hanging, of course. But the bishop here. They don't have actually a threat here. I guess they have a4. But am I threatening to trap this? Nah, not really. They have this check. But 93. No, they have this. They have sometimes. They could be also eyeing this. Yeah, my coordination is now very bad. Like with my hooks here. But yeah, I have always like ideas here. So it's hard to use it tactically. Like this pawn is also pinned. So a4. Yeah, they don't even have this capture, but that doesn't matter that much. No, 93 actually, no. 93 allows this. And also this, but kind of crazy position now. Still have a knife f5. But no, not really pieces connecting with it. Maybe I should have taken here. Actually. Now that I think about it. Not sure. Okay. What if I attack this? They okay, now I'm no longer defending this. Hook here. ID was 96. That defends this pawn at least. And then something like here. Now I can take here potentially. Okay. And after bishop c7. I have check, take. No, the bishop is not. I'm not attacking the bishop directly. But I have queen c6. With that ID. And the queen. They could defend here, and then they have c4 IDs. Taking here. That looks strong. So after this, after rook b8, 96, they maybe even have directly c4. Maybe I go. Okay. At least that is keeps that bishop passive. Rook here looks so nice. Defends his pawn. They have this ID. After which okay, there's a reason to go b7 actually. No, then I maybe have hook. Rook b8. So they have this capture. Then I think I just take on h6 actually. They then also have, the moment this pawn is gone, now they have 94 tempo on the queen, and then knight f3. Although I have at least, for now, this bishop is then hanging. Yeah, that I can't allow, right? So take in here. And we will see what that is. Maybe I'm not, don't have enough attackers. Okay, 94 here directly is absolutely... it could be something actually, since my bishop is also hanging. Still have here like the quite some attackers around their king. Bishop is not okay. So now this. King G7. Take. Guess I take here. Yeah, problem is I'm getting rid of all my attackers. Might as. So yeah, they need to attack my knight, otherwise I just have this. And I win back the piece, then I assume that like with the open king that at least should be fine for me, if not very strong for me. And this, I play this for sure, and I feel now this is hanging, that is hanging, so I think here. Oh, they go there. But how does that work? That I don't understand. This. And this will even be with the mate threat. And I keep my super knight on f5. No, this feels wrong. Okay. I think I have it next, and I'm just a pawn up. Although they can then take on e4, h6, no, I take on e5, probably in the end. Yes, so I of course could think about keeping the queens on, because their king is weak. But if I can just get a very good slash winning endgame, why wouldn't I do that? Like, we are equal material here, right? So I'm now just material up. Yeah. Everything is except the friend that kept this knight, which they can use by this, but yeah, then I take e5 in the end, so it doesn't really work. Yeah, not believing. Yeah, I'm curious actually. Like, was I in trouble in some point? For sure, I think earlier probably I should have had a really good position. I should just not have double blundered this double attack, right? I think before, like, at least my position should be not, and here probably I think I'm worse, but how much worse? Probably. I think at some point I was losing. But yeah, I had seen these ideas from I think I had seen this all the way back from when I played Rookie 1. So let's say they defend something. Probably knight f5. Even once I get knight f5, I always will have the back rank is still very problematic for them. And this pawn actually even sometimes just... So probably then the king needs to like stay over here, but then yeah. Then my king will just help mopping up at the other side. Yeah, probably they need to try some way to keep the queens on and maybe attack over here. Queen f3 maybe. But yeah, then I take this also with check. Ooh. And knight f5. Queen d4 then maybe, but then knight f5 again. Queen c4 I guess then. But then I attack. No, that's just, and I just take this pawn. So yeah, maybe let's at least remove this. Should have done that already earlier, but hope they at least like, even if this is objectively winning for me, like hope they at least challenge me to let's also, like, I guess refresh. That would be, I should have done this earlier. Yeah, but okay, they go for this. But here I said knight f5, right? And how does a queen keep defending? Don't really see it. And now I have back rank IDs. Like, I didn't really want to trade queens, since their king is obviously way more weak than mine. But I was fine because it would have been such a good endgame. But I am very... Yeah, probably they... Okay, now they go for the queen trade. But is that not just... Since now there are no knight f5 ideas. This is an option. For sure. Trading queens. Let's see, rook b1. Hey. Oh no, I can't trade queens. Rook here. Now they need to block. Trade. Rook here. Feel I'm gonna keep the queens on here. And probably next something like maybe this rook. Not sure which rook. No, on this, of course. I want to keep defending here. Yes. Yeah, they have some like repeating here. Yeah, maybe I should have gone to a6 straight away. I don't know. Like, do I now have this check? Yes. So rook a6, rook here. The only thing is like then my queen and my rook are hanging, so need to make sure. Since 98, take, check here. Oh no, sure. Maybe it doesn't work. Oh, well. That's brave. Is that not just hanging this knight for absolutely nothing? I think it is. So that's, and with the checkmate threat, yeah, this is over. I had seen that. I'd forgotten it for a second, but that was one of my threats. So yeah, now it's fully over. So yeah, keeping the queens on here was for sure the right decision. Although of course I earlier traded it, but I won a very crucial pawn, of course, this e5 pawn. Maybe, yeah, no, I can't imagine. But that's just checkmate in one, so okay. GG. Let me open. Looks like I will have some figuring out. Yeah, so they were discussing this line. Let me check this. So here, Queen C8. Yeah. So I had mentioned this. I think this might have a blunder. Yeah. But I think I would have done this. I think this was my plan. If they now do this, now I can just, yeah, I think this was my plan. Now I'm just gonna hassle the queen. Can maybe, like they always, the pieces are still very unfortunate placed. My knight is super good. So yeah, I was, so I hear a noise, positive noise. Yeah, I wouldn't say it. Yeah, I made, of course, a big blunder, but otherwise I played a really nice game. Although, yeah, I guess my bishop h6 was actually not. But I guess I had here, was here actually not. I was fine. Bishop e3. Wow. What? How does that work after this? So I'm 2 pawns. I guess I win. I win. No, that's okay. And yeah, I win here directly a pawn, and then also here. Yeah, I hadn't seen that at all. But earlier, yeah. Knight. Yeah, man, here. I should have yeah, I was thinking here bishop e3. That was one of my call. Yeah, maybe, yeah, now maybe I'm fine trading off some rooks and my queen can start entering. Yeah. Let me see chat. Oh, was the stream stable? Since I see here some red stuff. Hi. So you did a follow and a subscription also from Adi per one. Thanks for that. Not sure if you are still here. And yeah, it was a really cool game. For sure gonna upload this to YouTube, so we'll send you also the link. It was a really interesting one. You surprised me with this early queen c7. Yeah, so my g3 is actually not good. But I couldn't remember, but was the line? I was considering knight c3. I guess d4 is... Ah yeah, okay, d4. Well, why didn't I play knight c3 here? Yeah, that makes no sense. Yeah, the knight could be slightly misplaced here, but yeah, that's great. That's... yeah, queen g7, but yeah, queen g7. Yeah, that's also stepping into the check. But yeah, it was my... I thought it needed to be played, but... I'm not sure what... and here you need to... knowing that you need to take care with the f-pawn. And then here. Here. Yeah, and yeah, here you have the luck that the queen is attacking both my rooks. Otherwise, it's probably still somehow a checkmate, but no, I don't really have... Yeah, the queen is like perfectly placed, attacking, defending everything and attacking everything here. Do I guess I have some games with knight c3 maybe? Or what did I play in the past? I really couldn't remember what I played in the past. Yeah. I assumed that was a... I thought I had played... I think I probably have this also on... this should be on YouTube too, so I will link this. This was actually... That was I played a good game here in this game, I think. Yeah. I assume you had seen that game. Audio, yeah, that should be possible. I could also just do my mic closer, actually. I was probably also just at some moments speaking just not that loud. So this was... I was actually like slightly worse for most of the time. Yeah, so the question, did b5... b5 was really unexpected. A lot of options here for me. So yeah, I was happy with that with queen e2 ending. But yeah, still, like if it works, really nice find. Since at least, yeah, you carried some squares. Yeah, queen e2 was the only real move. And so here. So this. It was... bishop takes f2. Wow. Yeah. Had you seen this? I think I had like... I realized that I did, but and yeah, sort of missed how good it is here. Yeah, and now, yeah, this doesn't make any sense now. Yes. And now my position is completely in shambles here, so no. But yeah, I had a feeling that was I had a feeling that that was too crazy to go to capture the... yes, actually sort of similar than the game, but maybe a better version. Since there in that game, actually knight g5 also wasn't doing that much. It looked like completely busted, but somehow... Here I liked my play. Yeah, so you should have played g6, but that's... Oh, you need to be very brave for that. Having my bishop forever on h6, like your bishop is so... I guess it's not that far away from getting back. But then, yeah, the moment your bishop like pops out here, then I just push f4. Yeah, not sure. Like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that I here never had like... Okay, I had a big advantage, but not more than that. Queen f3, and that idea with, I guess, sacrificing ideas, but let's say you play just something like 97. What's the follow-up? Then I just put rooks in the middle. And this c5, that, yeah, was very happy to see. Blocking your own bishop. No, it was really my queen just kept dancing between these two squares, which was kind of funny. Then knight e6. Yeah, bishop. This was just a blunder. Although it's not that bad, but yeah, I after I played it, I already had seen queen c6, but couldn't figure out a reply. Although I sort of... Yeah, I earlier already like showed this line. But yeah, that's... I think, yeah, that's very hard to visualize. Yeah, I think it's humanly very natural to be very scared of that. Like, then... Like, if you had played g6 and then got mated on the dark squares, then you would have felt so stupid. So bishop b6 here. And knight e4, that I mentioned also. Oh. Bishop h6 here also. Best move. Yeah, I guess, yeah, taking... I think I was also considering just taking, but that just doesn't... Then... okay, I think this was one of my considerations, but it looks like... yeah, it's just equal material, but I guess the threats here are just too strong. But also, again, like I had seen 92, but to be able to evaluate that this is so good for black, not easy. But yeah, now that I see it, it's easily believable. But yeah, I guess the bishop is just coming out. Yeah, everything is actually very good, so it's maybe not that difficult actually. And queen b5. So knight, I guess that's knight e3 here is similar than the earlier lines with okay, yeah, this one, this I should have seen. This is not at all difficult. So then queen e3. Yeah, and again, yeah, that's again this endgame, knowing that this is... I guess here, yeah, I'm just say I have the bishop pair, but yeah, this is also... This bishop is horrible. Makes sense. And so yeah, here this was my big idea, which is refutable, but yeah, I think the whole refutation. Although I guess once you're here, it's actually doable. Since yeah, the main thing is that the queen is like on the best square on the board, like defending here and here, and attacking here and here. And yeah, of course here I can't just take this pawn since now I'm piece down. And if I attack the queen, let's say with this, yes, I thought maybe it would be like just keeping track of the hooks, but queen f3 and just not scared at all. Knight x here. Yeah, d1. Okay, I'm down a piece, right? And the king is just safe enough. But and yeah, that was of course winning. Okay. Guess I will keep it here. We'll check the rest of chat later. Was a really fun one. So yeah, that's for sure. For the people on YouTube, you can find me on Twitch too if you want a live stream. And yeah, I have not that much more to say today because it's getting late, getting a bit tired. See you next time.